What's up, gang? How everybody doing? I hope everybody doing good. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to all the new folks. Shout out to the Payal gang, you know what I'm talking about? And the notification squad. Yeah. All right, gang. All right. Let's you know what I'm talking about? Let's see what's going on. I want to say, man, I want to appreciate everybody, man. You know what I'm saying, man. They support your boy, share the video, thumb me up. You know what I'm saying, and hanging in there with Trey Gang. See what I'm talking about? Hanging with Trey Gang throughout all this stuff that we be going through in these social media streets. But I want to show y'all how the mob is heavily related in this whole corruption scandal with the Kanika Jenkins case. I know we all grew up looking at mob movies. We all seen damn near all of half of the mob movies our favorites. Man, you can quote some of the best lines from the mob video. You can know what I'm talking about. You can quote everything like Denzel Washington when he played that movie in American Gangster. Look who he was connected to the mob. Man, you love old gangster movie. I love them too. So you can relate to what I'm about to say. All right. I was doing some research. Before I was doing some research, this what got me interested in it. All because of Donna Stevenson. All because of Donna Stevenson. Keep this in mind about Donna Stevenson. I played the video for y'all. A lot of us seen this video, and we already know the story that he told about the mob, right? Y'all know when Rosemont, the city of Rosemont, was founded. Time is very important when you do research like this. Cause once you got the time on everything, you could easily connect it together. The time is like a puzzle, right? If the time fit, that means the puzzle fit. If the time fit, that means the puzzle fit. Just like what Johnny Cochran said to the jury. If the glove don't fit, you gotta quit. So look, check this out, right? We heard Donna Stevens said about the casinos, the hotel. Y'all remember the Thunderbolt Hotel that this man was talking about? Now, I'm gonna play a little portion of the video when he was telling everybody how he was uh uh going around to businesses shutting everybody down who had like a slot machine, illegal liquor license, gambling, bars, and salons, right? There you go, Jay Splitter. The Italian mob run Chicago. Because I want to show y'all this.
And they had airline crews in there and everybody. And every night, literally, they were walking, if you know what that means. They were walking guests. They were oversold. So the Chicago O'Hare Corporation, which owned O'Hare Inn, decided that what they were going to do, they were going to buy a property on River Road that was owned by Sam Giancana.
All right. Sam Gene Connor. Did y'all just hear that? A mob boss. This who purchased this shit. Right? This who purchased this, you know what I'm saying? Look, watch this, y'all. Sam Gigana, right? He was born in Chicago to an Italian immigrant parents. He joined the 42 gang. Check this out, gang. Before it was Crips, Blood, GD, Vice Lord, the first American street gang was the Italian Mafia. If you go back to the 42 gang, right? Look when it started. In 1925. So everything Donald Stevie finna tell you, watch how all of this going to make sense. So I'm just showing y'all before it was any kind of street gang, the mafia started it first and we adopted it. We adopted it. These the people who we get our kush, crack, heroin, pills, all of these people. And we already know when you a kingpin drug dealer, you know the history. One day, a man went out and met Italian mob. And he said, I can make you fast and rich. And give us the drug. Cause keep this in mind, the mafia don't really want to get caught with no drugs and stuff. So they gave it to us, you know what I'm saying, to sell it. And we take the money back to them because you already know, goddamn it, if you don't pay the mob their money on time, it's over with. So look, I want to go back to Samuel Gene O'Connor. This is who he talking to. He's American mobster, right? He's socializing with, you know what I'm talking about, Al Capone. All right. During the late 30s, he joined the outfit gang from the 1940s through the 50s. Now, I want to show y'all the Vice Lords, right? And I want you to see when the Vice Lords was founded. The Vice Lord was founded in 1957. See what I'm saying? All right. So we got a timeline about this gang shit, right? Watch this.
It was really in the name of James Purnell, who was a nephew of his, but we all knew that it was Sam Giancana. And they decided they would buy this property and use it for this overflow for the people that were walking because they had the customers. Something went wrong. The rumor mill started. We know how that goes, don't we? The rumor mill started, and it was generally being spread around that rather than the O'Hare Inn buying the Thunderbolt Motel, Giancana was buying into the O'Hare Inn.
Y'all heard that? Now look, do y'all hear this shit? Man, I'm finna bring this shit all the way to Kanika. I'm finna bring this shit all the way, Kanika, just to show you how closely the mob is related. We already know that we were dealing with the mob and the Kanika Jenkins in the beginning. Check this out, gang.
So the O'Hare people walked. Now, we still had Mr. Giancana. Now, at the time, the Thunderbolt, I don't know if any of you were old enough, I know I am, to remember, but back that Thunderbolt days, there was a guy by the name of Leon Marcus that was murdered, and they found a note on the body, a $100,000 note from Giancana to build this motel. So it was really something that we would rather be without. So 4 men got together, Dick Evenhouse, Joe Shulo, myself, and Pat Greco, and we decided we'd buy the hotel. Now, Giancana wanted to get out of there anyway. He really didn't like being inside a municipal boundary. He didn't want people nosing around his stuff anyway. So we got together and we were going to buy it. We thought, well, the worst thing that we could do, we could clean it up, perhaps sell it, and we'd maybe even make some money on it.
Let you know business deal with a mob boss. Keep this in mind. In 1960, in the 1960s, right? Did you know Sam Gene O'Connor was a suspect in the president murder? The same mafia people he talking about was on the radar for the assassination of John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. And then when you look, Justice for Kanika. Justice for Kanika. Justice for Kendrick. Justice for Kendrick. Jay, y'all see this what I'm saying? Look, watch this, y'all.
Well, by the time we got to closing, there was a guy by the name of Sandy Smith that was a reporter that worked for the Chicago Daily News. And I'll never forget the story that he wrote. The inference was, again, trying the same thing the O'Hare Inn had, that the mayor was really fronting for Giancana. Well, when we went to, as I said, we got to the point of closing, there was Pat Greco and myself left. And we did buy the Thunderbolt Motel.
All right. The Thunderbolt Hotel, right? This finna make real big. Hold on, let me do it like this. All right. I want to go to her.
There's a new soap. Can you smell it?
Watch how all this making sense. And then look, before I play this video, you know what I'm talking about? What T Slay at? Shout out to T Slay too, gang. You know what I'm talking about? 'Cause T Slay put me on the rabbis, right? And they just got busted for human trafficking. Religious leaders, you know, I'm talking about these real religious leaders, you know what I'm saying? It done got so deep, you know what I'm saying? What you say, the Thunderbolt Hotel? Yeah, we need to save that, you know what I'm talking about? Go to the Thunderbolt Hotel. See, I told y'all they stole that shit from me. All right, now look, I want y'all to hear what Keep this in mind. Let me give y'all the back page on it. Donna Stevens was going against the mob, where he was dealing with the mob, buying shit, making business deals, and all this. And remember when he said when he used to drive in Chicago on the south side of Chicago and was extorting all these small businesses. He was going to all the small business. Keep this in mind. Back in them days, it was a lot of black-owned businesses in Chicago. It was a lot of black-owned businesses in Chicago. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Chicago ain't gonna tell y'all. They want to put this gang shit every day on the news and like, oh, the gang is the biggest problem in Chicago. It's the crooked ass system that's in Chicago that's run by these folks. And it's a lot of black people in Chicago that's successful. They would not show on the news or even do a documentary on. You got a lot of people in Chicago that's entrepreneur and self-made millionaires. You see what I'm saying? All right. What he about to tell you about the south side of Chicago, and keep this in mind, it was a dude named Teddy Roe, a black man. Man, look, Teddy Roe was a black man, right? And the mob couldn't even fuck with him. And he was on the south side. They tried to blackball the man, but the nigga was so gangster with it, though. You know what I'm talking about? He was so gangster. I'm gonna play the video game.
Shortly before the killing of Leon Marcus and the whacking of his killer Sal Moretti for the sloppy execution, Giancana sought to get even over another outfit matter. The mob has a very long memory, especially when it comes to government cooperators. It would be this memory that gave the man in question sleepless nights. In the 1930s, Frank Nitti, the front boss of the Chicago outfit, dispatched Willie Byoff to California as muscle to help mob-controlled union leader George Brown, who later became president of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. Byoff, aided by John Handsome Johnny Roselli, eventually became the collector for syndicate-controlled unions in Hollywood, extorting millions of dollars from major motion picture studios and helping himself to several $100,000 in the process.
Now look, all right. I'm gonna skip it to the part where I need to get to. But I highly recommend y'all go watch this. Chicago Mob, this the real mob news channel. You know what I'm talking about? So y'all go like, share, and subscribe. It's a part one. It's a part one to all the way to 4, right? I'm finna go to this right here, I think.
Even so far as going into business with the senator's nephew Bobby. And his girlfriend assumed a new identity, William Nelson, and reportedly developed a friendship with then-Senator Barry Goldwater. They developed a firm relationship such that Byoff, now Nelson, could be found supporting his campaigns, jaunting around the country in the senator's private jet, and even so far as going into business with the senator's nephew Bobby. In November, Chucky heard that Marshall Cafano, still working Las Vegas, had stumbled across a name from the past. His name had been etched with the pumps was his undoing. Under their stupidity, he'd taken a job at the Las Vegas Riviera under its then manager, Gus Greenbaum.
All right. Think about they sent all them employees to Las Vegas. To Las Vegas, gang. They took French K to Las Vegas. Jet 33 King in Las Vegas. And it was a more employee was in Las Vegas, right? Remember that when everybody was like, damn, they just fled the country? No. They was in Las Vegas at another casino. And look what this casino is named. Rivera, right? Just like Rivera Road. Watch this shit.
This was his undoing. Once in town, it didn't take Marshal Cafano long to spot the traitor. The Riviera was backed by Chicago. At the news of Cafano's discovery, Giancana reverted to the tried and true. On November 4th, 1955, Byoff turned the key in the ignition of his truck and was scattered around like beads of sweat in an aerobic teacher's buttock cleavage. The explosion was heard for miles. It took many years.
All right. Now these are explosions, right? I'm gonna stop it right here, and I want to go back to him.
The same thing the O'Hare had, that the mayor was really fronting for Giancana. Well, when we went to, as I said, we got to the point of closing, there was Pat Greco and myself left. And we did buy the Thunderbolt Motel from Mr. Giancana.
He directly bought it from the man. And if you look at him, he even looked like a mob boss. He looked like a godfather in this shit. He looked like a godfather. You know what I'm talking about? He'll be a perfect candidate to play the next John Corleone, goddammit.
Now, from that day on.
And then look, I got to keep stopping the pause so I won't get a copyright strike and stuff like this here. Keep this in mind, gang. If the mob own these hotels, we already know where they throw the real party at. In the basement. In the basement. This is why Crown Plaza don't want to tell nobody about the basement, the private area where the girl was found at. See what I'm saying, y'all? The mob is known for building shit and making, you know what I'm saying, secret rooms, secret area in the hotel that ain't even on the blueprint. You see what I'm saying? Now check this out.
Every time I read the newspaper, and that is 43 years ago, all anybody talks about is how the mayor dealt with Giancana. And I hear it to this day. People, I bought a piece of real estate 43 years ago. Now, because of the publicity that I've received over those 43 years, it was probably the worst deal I ever made from a public relations point of view. Now, from a financial point of view, it was the best. I bought that hotel. We changed the name, cleaned it up. Over the years, we added more rooms. When I sold it in 1987, it had 151 rooms, and I sold it for $6 million. So as I say, it was the best real estate deal, the worst public relations. But that's the story, the true story of Giancana. Now, when I bought that property, the first thing that happened, this was 1962, as soon as the word got out that Greco and I were buying it, I got a call at my office by two gentlemen from the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And keep this in mind, the mob is heavily connected to the FBI. Heavily connected to the FBI. The whole purpose of this live, y'all, that I'm making, I just want to show y'all how the mob started the street gang. They started the liquor. You know what I'm talking about, like the moonshine. You know the stories, you know what I'm saying? You go to bars, it was against the law to have moonshines and stuff like this. They had trap doors in case the police would raid the hotel. Cause keep this in mind. The saloon is a hotel. It ain't nothing but a big hoe house. If you look at old Western movies, right? Old Western movies. When you walk in the salon, you can have a drink and the female waitress coming, you know what I'm talking about, serve you your drinks and stuff and all this old shit. Then the girl stars will be up room. So when you get through having a drink, you can go clean upstairs to the girl room. There was prostitution in whole houses back then. That's why it was a whole lot of bar fights and shit going on. That's why the police would have to, man, look, you can't be doing all this, but check this out.
One gentleman was Ralph Hill. The other was John Bassett, two agents from the Federal Bureau, and they wanted to know about this purchase from Giancana. So what we did, we turned over all the documents on that purchase to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Federal Bureau checked all of the sources of Mr. Greco's money and my money. It was a clean real estate deal. I know it because they told us it was. Over the years, I developed a close relationship with these two guys.
Meaning he became friends with these people. So look, well if the feds on your ass, right? That's why it was two agents that came to him. You can might as well say they wanted the piece of the pie. See what I'm saying? So look, he built a relationship with two federal agents on the behalf of Gene O'Connor, right? Keep that in mind.
FBI agents, and one other, a guy by the name of Bill Romer.
And keep this in mind, this in the 60s. When did look, when you keep this timestamp right here, according to some sources, Gene O'Connor and the Mafia was involved in the JFK victory in the 1960 president. During the 60s, he was recruited to Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, Jack. The CIA plotted to kill Castro. You see what I'm saying? They want to kill a Cuban, right? The spirit, they said he was a terrorist. You see what I'm saying? So they try to do the same thing they did to Osama bin Laden. They said Osama bin Laden and his gang that is in attack America, which there was a lie. It's a lie. So look, in 19, look, what did it say? 1965, he was convicted of attempted court, served 1 year in prison. After his release from prison, Gene O'Connor fled to world, in Montreal, Mexico. In 1974, he was deported to the United States, returned to Chicago. Gene O'Connor was murdered on June 19, 1975, where? In Oak Park, Chicago. The same hoods. Before, look, Before black people was really just staying over there, man, the mob was over there. It was their territory. You see what I'm saying? So let's keep these dates in mind. 1957 when I mean 1920 something. The 42 gang, right? 1924, that's when the gang was founded. That's when the mafia found their little gangs and shit, the sloops, soup gang, all this shit. So check this out. He was murdered. And check this out. Man, when y'all heard about the murder, boy, the feds did this. It was a private hit. All right. Let me see where I need to go. We all know the 42 gang. Look who they connected to. Teenage street gang in Chicago that stated during Prohibited. Like Brooklyn, Italian, and Jewish street gangs. Now watch how the Jewish went from the streets to the executive suites. They ain't in the streets banging no more. Now they in senator seats, judges, mayors, you know what I'm talking about, and all this shit. Then look what it go back to. Italian, Jewish. And we already know about the Jewish people. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, 1925, I mean. Think about it. The Kosher Kitchen is a Jewish name. The Kosher Kitchen that Kanika they said they found her in, it's a Jewish name. All right. So let me see where I need to be at. We got Frank Nitti. Frank Nitti, known as Frank Nitti, was an Italian American organized crime figure based in Chicago, the first cousin and bodyguard of Al Capone. Nitti was charged. Look, Nitti was charged all money funneling through the operation. Nitti later succeeded Capone as acting boss of the Chicago outfit. All right, bam. Go back to this sucker.
And they were very helpful to me and to the village of Rosemont. We still had some problems. The area was sort of blessed with a bunch of cheap bars.
Black owned businesses. And I'm finna prove it to you. Black owned businesses. And he talking about going up the south. Just okay. Think about this. We already know where Kanika from, right? You can take River Road all the way up to the south side. It's a straight shot, right? It's a straight goddamn shot. So guess who he finna be talking about? And watch all this crime. That's why he keeps saying, boy, I'm glad Staff Detention Limited ran out. Cause boy, we did some home invasion, robbery, killing, and some drug dealing. You know what I'm talking about? Check this out, gang.
There was a hamburger joint, and they all had these pinball machines. You gambled with these pinball machines. There was no obvious money involved. You played the pinball machine and you ran up a score. And then when your score was tallied up, the bartender would pay you. It was rather difficult to get a good gambling arrest with this kind of an operation. We got lucky one time, and actually it was in cooperation with the Sheriff's Police Department. And we got a good pinch, if you can call it that, at a place called the Shady Rest Inn. Now, that really didn't mean much because it was a minor arrest for minor gambling. But it did give us an opening. I talked to John Bassett about this, and we came up with an idea. And again, today you couldn't do this, I told my public works people to go out and in every bar and this coffee shop in Rosemont, pick up these pinball machines, tell the owners that they were being used for gambling, we would not permit it.
With no search warrant, that sound like extortion. That sound like extortion from the police. You ain't had no warrant, you ain't had no right, you ain't had none of this shit to fuck with these folks, right? Keep this in mind, right? Black people was associated with the mob for the drug dealing and their businesses. The black people had businesses too. And the mob used to like, yeah, some of them got it started, some of them didn't. You know what I'm talking about? So he tried to do the same thing what the mob did, but he used his badge to do it. Check this out, guys.
And take them all to the public works garage. And from one of the guys that had the store, actually the guy that had the hamburger joint, we got the name of the gentleman that serviced these machines. So I called the gentleman and I said, you know, we've got all your machines. They're being used illegally to do gambling processes here, and we don't want them. Unfortunately, one of your machines has already fallen off the truck, and it's broken. Now, we don't want any more to fall. We'd suggest you come over and pick them up. And they did. He came over and sent somebody over, and they took all the machines. We had no more pinball machines. They were gone. Now, again, with my friend John Bassett, we talked about some other things that were unsavory people were involved. And we had a survey made. And in this survey, we found that every cigarette machine, every jukebox in Rosemont, and there were a lot of them, every one of them was owned by two companies, Apex and Deluxe. And John told me who owned Apex and Deluxe. I didn't know. Remember, I'm a young punk now. I'm an old man, but not, I didn't know too much then. So we passed an ordinance. We said, you can't.
Hold on. And that's what the ultimate did in the Kaniga Jenkins case when he passed the ordinance about the security tightening up in the policy, the hotel policy changing. You see what I'm saying, gang? Look, I'm gonna tell y'all something. These people smarter than a motherfucker. Cause these people know how to get out in the street and play the law. These people know how to get and do business deals. These people know the law. And they get millions of dollars doing this shit. Right? Check this out.
Buy cigarettes from a machine. We passed another ordinance and said you can't have coin-operated amusement devices. You had to buy your cigarettes over the counter from a live salesperson. And the bar could have music, but not coin-operated.
Meaning that, wait a minute. You can't put no money in a jukebox. Cause that jukebox making money. I remember, if you old enough, man, we used to go to the hole in the wall. And everybody, you know what I'm talking about? Everybody put their little money in, you know what I'm saying? And the jukebox go off. You get to pick what songs you get. I think you get to pay like about 5 songs. The more money you win, the bigger the playlist, goddammit. So they don't want these people generate money, nothing, because there ain't no taxes on it. You see what I'm saying? They can't get taxes off of it. Only way they need to pass this ordinance. Cause once you do that little deal, you got to do a taxes, you know what I'm saying? All this, you got to document how much that made, and you know what I'm talking about. All right, check this out.
That was the end of Apex and Deluxe. They were gone.
Took him out of business.
Now, believe me, it was a blessing, really, to the village of Rosemont, because in addition just to the gambling, these bars.
Hey, what you say, Jay Flutter? My land, $2. Boy, that was look. That was the #1 goddamn motherfucker playing in that motherfucker. It's cheaper than keep all that old shit, right? Check this out.
If you can get the picture, if you went in one, the cockroaches were the size of chameleons. You know, that's actually true. But that was the end, as I say, of pinball machines. The end of jute boxes. Now we had one more problem, and there was a liquor store. The liquor store, John told me that there was the guy that, his name was, I think it was John Doty, was on the license, but he really didn't own it.
All right. Now we finna get to the liquor license, and I'm finna go back to this shit.
Discovery, Giancana reverted to the tried and true.
Elon Musk just purchased Twitter for $44 billion. There is even bigger news for America.
November 4th, 1955, Byoff turned the key in the ignition of his truck and was scattered around like beads of sweat in an aerobic teacher's. Fond of saying, "Give me a man who steals a little, and I can make money," Giancana had no problem with a thief. For a guy to steal a little was fine, but God help the man who pushed his luck too far. Giancana's reaction would be swift and brutal, and he always made it a point to make an example of a transgressor. Such was the case that fall of 1958. He'd had just about enough of Gus Greenbaum's shenanigans in Las Vegas. A similar situation happened 10 years prior when it was discovered that the Flamingo's losses were due not to lack of business but to Bugsy Siegel's rampant personal skimming. The order was given for his elimination. Chicago sent 2 soldiers to handle the job, and
All right, y'all, pay attention to this shit.
Siegel was riddled with bullets in Beverly Hills on June 20th, 1947. His eyeball was shot out and found a few feet away. The Godfather Part 2 paid homage to this event when the character based on Siegel, named Mo Green, had his eye shot out.
He was banging cocktail waitresses 2 at a time.
See that banging cocktail waitresses. These folks were running whole houses, extortion, blowing up people's buildings, you know what I'm saying, just to take over the whole town, right? Watch this shit.
Immediately after his killing, each city provided an emissary to take over the Flamingo, to protect their interests and pick up the pieces. After Chicago had gained control of the Riviera in 1952, Giancana had moved Gus Greenbaum in as manager. A proven master at the art of skimming for the outfit, Greenbaum displayed talents Giancana liked. But after Marshal Caifano had located the traitorous Willie Byoff working right under Greenbaum in 1955, Greenbaum's star was suddenly tarnished. He became a flagrant gambler, losing up to $20,000 per week.
Now go back to Donna Stevenson. Cause they see all this money these people getting, they like, man, y'all ain't finna be gambling here, and this ain't on no tax. We can't get no taxes off this shit, so now y'all can't do that, right? So check this out. I want to go to this.
Prohibition as an enforcer. A new more than just a little. Around the same time, trouble was brewing in New York. The man at the center of the drama was a Sicilian mobster who rose to power during Prohibition as an enforcer. A longtime associate and childhood friend of Charles Luciano, he took part in the Castellammarese Wars and helped shape the rise of organized crime in the United States. Along with Luciano, he helped the expansion of the heroin trade to an international level.
Here we go. Right? Now, this when, look, if you look at the timeline, this when the crack, well, heroin really took over before crack did, before cocaine did, right? You know what I'm talking about? Keep this in mind. They don't want y'all to think these people, you know what I'm saying? Crack just came in the 80s and heroin's in the 70s. This shit been around. It was just high-class people using it. Because remember, they used to call the cocaine the white man drug. Because they used to go to parties. That's what drug of choice they liked it, right? So keep this in mind of the drug trade.
In 1937, he fled to Italy and for a brief period during World War II supported Benito Mussolini's regime for fear of being deported back to the United States to face murder charges. He eventually returned in 1945. The man had served as mentor to Vincent the Chin Gigante, the future boss of one of New York's 5 mob families. In 1957, the Sicilian gangster vied for the title Boss of Bosses by ordering the murder of Albert Anastasia and the botched murder attempt of Frank Costello. Immediately following this, he called a mafia summit to consolidate his power, but the meeting was raided by the police. The man was none other than the fearsome Vito Genovese. One day that spring, Willie Potatoes, with his platinum blonde girlfriend by his side, strolled across the black. He sat down at the table. "So what's the deal out there?" Chuck asked, motioning to the bartender for another round of drinks.
Keep this in mind. They been fucking with the young black kids. Right? Keep in mind, look, you see how young this person was? Think about Yami. Look.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure he said he knew it was his daughter.
When you think about this shit been going on, right? But I'm gonna get back to this. I want to go back to this right quick.
"Go powder your nose, honey," he said, winking at the guys. She nodded.
If you use any of these companies, do this now. To be honest, I had no idea until I tried auto.
"Okay, Willie. Take your time," Willie called out as she turned to go. Willie just grinned as he sat down at the table. "So what's the deal out there?" Chuck asked, motioning to the bartender for another round of drinks. A broad smile crossed Willie's face in it as well, and New York cup of knowledge on the subject of organized crime. But perhaps worst of all, his ego had suffered. He'd been beaten to the punch by a handful of New York cops, along with the FBI's longtime rival, the Bureau of Narcotics. The Kennedy brothers were rubbing Hoover's nose in it as well, and it would be this, along with other incidents, that would damage relations between the two factions.
And keep this in mind, we already know J.F. Hoover was dealing with the mob. Y'all remember Jimmy Hoffa? Remember Jimmy Hoffa and all this shit? That's how the Kennedy got assassinated, and Gene O'Connor and Chicago had something to do with that shit. They had something to do with that shit. The CIA even covered it up.
Giancana also confided that J. Edgar Hoover himself had been on the pad for years. A close friend of Giancana, the infamous New York gangster Frank Costello, had masterminded it all. Frank Costello was an influential mobster who survived several wars, government scrutiny, and an assassination attempt to control the powerful National Commission of Mafia Bosses, founded by Lucky Luciano. He was known as the Prime Minister of the Mob, He was a master at corrupting lawyers, judges, the Justice Department, and prominent politicians to garner favor.
Don't that sound like the same thing around the Kanika Jenkins case? Don't that sound like the same thing around the Kanika Jenkins case? Look how many people that was on her case is full of corruption, all the way to Kanika Judge. Everybody taking briberies and all this shit. The police, you know the police took the biggest payout, goddammit. Watch this shit.
Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello obtained photos of Hoover's homosexual activities with longtime aide Clyde Tolson and used them to ensure that the FBI did not target their illegal activities.
So the mob had J.M. Hoover. They the one who gonna say, yeah, we gonna tell everybody your ass gay. And he ain't want that to be out, right? And check this out. And Hoover, he a black dude. J.L. Hoover, he black. He a black man that could pass for white. Watch this.
Giancana told Chucky, Costello worked the whole thing out. He knew Hoover was just like every other politician and copper, only meaner and smarter than most. Hoover didn't want an envelope each month. That offended his sensibilities, Giancana said, sneering. So we never gave him cash outright. We gave him something better, tips on fixed horse races. It was up to him how much money he wanted to make on the information. He could bet $10,000 on a horse that showed 20-to-1 odds if he wanted, and he has. He would get a trusted aide to put down the winning bet for him, and then put a small bet on another horse himself to cover his tracks. If he was ever investigated, he had a record of the bets he made. The FBI was in the mob's pocket all along. Many years later, federal agents would be so far up Giancana's ass that he could taste Brill cream.
Hold on, what is your name?
There is no doubt that the American people need an adequate merchant marine. Nor is there any doubt that the American people are going to have...
Joseph Patrick Kennedy Sr. was an American businessman, investor, and politician known for his high...
Hold on,
Still
y'all.
playing naive
Hold on. I got to find Teddy Roe, goddamn. What Teddy Roe's at? Hold on, gang. What that job was at?
Lombardo trades on fear and intimidation. He runs a vicious loan sharking operation, lending money at exorbitant interest rates. Many borrowers are habitual gamblers who will never repay the loan and struggle to pay the interest. Late payers are severely punished, with brutal operatives like Lombardo making money for them. By the 1960s, the outfit is reportedly raking in over $1 billion.
Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to find that part where he was on the south side when he was talking about Teddy Roe, right? It's got to be this because I got it on here.
Giancana replied,
Hold on. I might need to go to Paul 1.
This revolutionary tooth cleaner is saving users from expensive and painful surgery. It removes tartar.
It's got to be number 1, gang. It's number 1. Hold on. Ah, what that John there? Here you go. Watch this, y'all. Here you go.
And quickly moved his family far away. Giancana now controlled all of Eddie Jones' wheels, impressing Accardo and the others mightily, and by August he had gained complete control of all of Chicago's numbers game. There was only one man that stood in Giancana's way for complete domination over the policy rackets.
Teddy Roe, Jack.
Teddy Roe was an African-American policy boss who built an illegal gambling empire in Southside Chicago during the 1940s and 1950s. Roe earned the nickname Robin Hood because of his philanthropy among the neighborhood poor. He started off as a humble tailor's assistant until he met Eddie.
Keep this in mind. This is the same time when Donna Stevens said about all the bars, they had to go shut them down and all this old shit. Watch this shit.
Jones. Jones would teach Roe about the policy rackets, and it wasn't long before he started climbing the ladder in the business. Roe was effectively the last man standing in the outfit's way. Instead of fleeing or giving up his business, the tough racketeer held firm against the outfit.
Outfit mean he stand, look, he made the whole mob stand down, Jack. A black man. A black man, y'all. Man, look, check this out. I respect him because what he did and how the way he treated them suckers. Watch this game.
Giancana was hesitant to kill Roe. He respected him and what he'd achieved, and most of all, Roe wasn't a punk. He'd held off numerous attempts to take over his business. Giancana bided his time. Sooner or later, Roe would slip up, and Giancana would take control. Giancana was getting tired of not being able to take over the last policy business standing. He sent his main lieutenant, Fat Lenny Caifano, to try to work out a partnership with him, but Roe refused. They bombed Roe's house, sent him threatening packages, and even...
There we go with the bombing. And when I play Donna Stevens video, he gonna tell y'all they was throwing cocktails and shit in folks' shit.
Offered him $250,000 to leave. Still, Roe refused to give up his operations. He became a hero in the black community and was nicknamed the Robin Hood of policy. In reality, the outfit was already pleased with the takeover of the numbers game and was not concerned about the Roe situation. To Giancana, however, Roe's resistance was a constant source of frustration, and he finally decided to kidnap Roe and hold him until he gave in. After all, it had worked with Eddie Jones. Fat Lenny Caifano was chosen to lead the plot to bring Roe into the fold. A charismatic, jovial man weighing 400 pounds, Fat Leonard Caifano had been a close friend of Giancana's since their days in the 42s.
Since their days in the 42s. Uh-oh. Y'all see what I'm saying, gang? All right, these niggas is part of the 42 gang. That's why the most gangs, like Crip Blood, G, Vital, Land, you know what I'm saying, MS, they represent street gangs. You know, you rolling 60s, rolling 90s, you know what I'm saying? You got 6 Deuce Brim, you know what I'm talking about? All this old shit, right?
He even played Santa Claus to Giancana's daughter Antoinette while her father was in prison. On June 19, 1951, while riding in his car, Roe noticed the vehicle behind him flashing its lights. He pulled over and got out to face down what was coming. "It's time," Caifano said to the 2 men with him, one of them his brother. as they all climbed out of the car. At exactly the same moment, Roe's 3 bodyguards, off-duty policemen, appeared out of nowhere and started shooting. Kaifano
You see what I'm talking about? Man, that man was unstoppable, Jack. Man, this shit got me feeling gangster, man. You know what I'm talking about? Man, this shit got me feeling so gangster. Listen to the music with this shit, man. I'm about to top Draco right now. You know what I'm talking about? And the dedication of Rose. You see what I'm talking about? Look, them sucker tried to pull that. Look, them sucker pulled that man over. And they tried to assassinate that nigga, man. And outdo the police officer came and saved it. Right? Watch this.
off-duty policemen appeared out of nowhere and started shooting. Kaifano took a slug in his temple. His partners, despite one also taking a hit, were able to leap back into the car. They sped off, leaving Kaifano to die in a pool of blood. The bodyguards took off as well. When the police arrived, Roe said he'd killed Kaifano in self-defense.
Real shit. Real shit, Jack. Know what I'm talking about? Man, that's real. Stick on the thing. Yeah, I did it. Motherfucker tried to do me in. You know what I'm talking about? Watch this game.
Years later, when Giancana's daughter Antoinette heard of Kaifano's death, she recalled her first Christmas when Sam was away in prison. I guess for as long as I live, I will never forget the moment or the fact that the man in the red suit was Fat Leonard. He had bought those skates for me. He had rented the red suit and played Santa Claus so that a little girl wouldn't lose her belief in Santa Claus. It is hard even now to realize that Fat Leonard was one of Sam's professional killers, a man who lived by the gun and eventually died by it. Sam was upset with the 2 men he'd sent with Kaifano on the road job. One of his strictest rules stemming from his days with the 42s was never, ever leave one of your own behind.
What? Yeah, you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, y'all nigga left the nigga, y'all left the 42 in the street with a black man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I did it. You know what I'm talking about? These suckers playing with me. You know what I'm talking about? They just don't know who they fucking with. But I want to know what was up with the bodyguard, the police, though. You know what I'm saying? I want to know that. You know what I'm saying? What type of shit they was on with Rose? You know, cause I'm quite sure he had some shit going on too. But let's figure this out, gang.
He let the 2 men live, but made sure they'd never move up in the outfit. At Kaifano's funeral, Giancana said the words that were on everyone's mind. Roe's a fucking dead man. Not only had Roe refused to give up his business, he'd now killed Santa, albeit in self-defense. The Santa suit was stored away, never to be worn again. On August 4th, 1952, 2 men waited in a Chevrolet across from Roe's home. He emerged at 10 p.m. This time there were no bodyguards in sight. As he walked to his car, 2 men ran up behind him and opened fire with shotguns. The force of the shots lifted Roe off his feet and into a tree before he ended up in the gutter. It was the end of the tough policy boss of Chicago. What Giancana didn't know was that Roe had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and was not expected to live much longer anyway. It was one of the reasons why Roe decided against being accompanied by his bodyguards. He had balls. It was a fucking shame to kill him, the FBI recorded Giancana saying in the 1970s.
So look, then we go back to him. Now check this out, right? We already know what a politician boss is, right? Y'all can look this shit up. You know what I'm talking about? These the roles that these niggas were playing back then. All right. So y'all go look up damn, look at all this shit, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Cause y'all know they in the money laundry and stuff like that. Money laundry. You know what I'm talking about? They had a role in the president. Then when you go to the Almighty, the Vice Lords, right? The Almighty Vice Lords. And guess where that name Vice Lords come from? It came from a hitman, Vice Lord. His last name was Vice Lord. It came from a hitman. Now that's how they got the name Vice Lord. So look, in 1957, the gang was founded by Brian Ricks, Tony Ricks, and several African Americans. Right? Youth originated from World North Longdale. Keep this in mind. The mob gang, all them different street gangs from the south to the west side, the north to the east, and all this shit. Man, the mob been doing this shit, right? In their neighborhood. The youth met incarcerated. Look, the youth met while incarcerated in Chicago, Illinois, training school for boys in St. Charles. It's known as a juvenile facility. Damn, these niggas in juvenile. You see what I'm talking about? As the original Vice Lord group were released from incarcerated, they quickly began recruiting other members from their neighborhood and began to engage in conflict with other clubs from vibrant Chicago neighborhood. By 1964, they had grown significant, and law enforcement named them the primary target of this. So when you look at it like this is how the way I'm looking at it then. Since the mob finna graduate from the street to the executive streets, who gonna control the hair run, the crack, the goddamn, you know what I'm saying, the dope boys? Who finna, you know, they gonna have to get the drugs and give it to us so we get some money too. But they gonna get all the money. That's why they give it to us for so cheap. You know what I'm talking about? Man, you get a shit brick of powder now. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't gonna call the prices on that motherfucker, you know what I'm talking about? Cause I told one nigga one thing, another nigga another, you know what I'm talking about? I don't want to, you know what I'm talking about? So look, these were juveniles came out of juvenile and they just went in on robbery, thieves, assault, battery, intimidation, extortion. That's the same. Well, we got a troll alert. Hey, we ain't gonna think about troll right now. Man, I can't even think about no troll right now. I'm so in tune with this shit. Cause look, they adopted the same thing the mob did. Intimidation, extortion, theft, robbery, and battery, right? The CVLs, conservative vice lord. That's what CVL mean, conservative vice lord. IVL, insane vice lord. UVL, unknown vice lord. TVL is traveling vice lord. You know what I'm talking about? Please do not ask me how I know this shit. I just did a lot of research. So look, in the attempt to soften their public image, a leader of one of the original eight vice lords changed the gang name to Conservative Vice Lord, which today is founded in the Titan Vice Lord Lakes. You know what I'm talking about? All right, let me get into this. 1972 Vice Lord leader Ivanso and Bobby Gore. Who is Bobby Gore, right? Bobby Gore. Gore was a co-founding leader of the Conservative Vice Lord, which historically made the largest, most notorious street gang. Gore collaborated his let me go to this right quick. Here you go right here. Bobby Gore. This is what he looked like, y'all. Bobby Gore. holding a press conference in Chicago. Mm-mm. All right. Let's go to him. Go born at the Cook County. I don't want to read that right now. I want to read. Look, check this out. By 1958, the conservative bylaw, whoa, were formed by Edwin Marlin, Perry, and 6 others in St. Charles, Illinois. Right? The company from 1953 began working with the hold on. Watch this shit. They said from right here, go out to the jobs at Swift Company and Advanced Fishing Company from 1953 until he began working for the CVS Incorporated in 1967, the west side of Chicago, Illinois neighborhood in North Lawn, where the violent are known could be considered the most dangerous ghetto in the country at that time. And when you think about this, what going on in the 60s, look at the movie, look at the TV show Good Time. The Warlord, Mad Dog. Look how they promoted that gang shit. You see what I'm saying? So look, he was working with the VA. He was convicted in prison. He was convicted of murder. Did 10 years, and Gore attempted to rebuild the CVS into a peaceful and positive organization. Right? Okay. Damn. So you know Chicago is really pretty busy with this gang and mob shit, right? All right. This who these people we know they don't like the the GDs and shit, the BDs, you know what I'm saying? The GDs, all these, they check this out. North Lawndale, that's on the west side of Chicago, by the metro area, right? Look what they into. Money laundry. Money laundering is the process conceal original money to attain activities such as drug trafficking, corruption, embezzlement, gambling, by converting into lament sources. It's a crime in many jurisdictions that will violate. Hold on, let me go to this racketeering. We know what racketeering means. This they outline. The Black Pea Stone, the Bloods. That's why I be telling, you know what I'm saying? The Bloods. And we had one on our channel then, y'all. The Land King, People Nation, Mickey Mouse Cobras, Folk Nation. These the rivals. Folk Nation, GD. That's why you see TY and them dropping the pitchfork and TY live. They BDs, right? Mean black disciples. And the Simon City Roars. See what I'm talking about? Known as the Almighty Simon City Roars Nation. Our street and prison gang, which began during the 1952. So when the mob was running the streets and all this shit, they gave it to us. Right? Go to Samuel Gene O'Connor. Hold on, y'all. Let me read my microphone right quick. Y'all read some of this right quick. All right, I'm back. So let me go back to this. Think about this, y'all.
I'm pretty sure that my brother.
Now look, this is a story called Yummy. His name was Robert Sanderfield. Robert Sanderfield, right? Man, the man had 20 felonies before he was 11 years old. The BDs got him in the gang, right? And the gang was using him to do hits. Listen to this shit.
Joe Biden is bringing free internet to millions of Americans struggling with living costs.
Began to skyrocket, and the city capitalized on his reputation of being a gangland in some areas. Black children from Chicago's neighborhoods were running the streets and trying to get theirs. Yummy, who was only 11, was born in Chicago's infamous South Side. And little did he know that he would become the poster child for inner city America. Yummy was born to a teenage mother and father. Mother was a crack addict and his father was in prison for drug-related crimes. Deemed unfit to take care of her son, Yummy's mother gave him to his grandmother. Yummy's mother would beat him until welts showed up on his legs and he had cigarette burns on his shoulders and backside. Yummy is from the Rosemont neighborhood of Chicago. Yummy's grandma...
And then look, this is exact neighborhood. Roseland, you know what I'm talking about? This where Zach and them from the Wild 100. You see what I'm saying? From the Wild 100s, right? Check this out.
Grandmother's house was filled with 19 people as residents, leaving him open to continued neglect, so he began to lash out and misbehave badly. Over the years, that house became packed with up to 40 people living there, in and out. Really annoying, social workers realized that Yummy's grandmother wasn't too much more different than his mother. No hope for the child. As Yummy got older, he seen that no one cared about him but himself, and he had to do something to stay alive or he was going to die very soon. So he did just that. He quit school, and at 8 years old, he ran the streets of Chicago. He started stealing cars and mastered driving before he was 10 years old. Yummy began to rob people for anything that they had. He became cold. He was hurt, disoriented, and he was in the field with wolves. A neighbor said Yummy would ask a kid for 50 cents. If the child was scared and he gave it to him anyway, he would ask for another 50 cents and just take it. He had every element of the neighborhood bullies packed in a 4'6" body. Yummy got the respect of the people in the neighborhood, even though he was a...
Now, I'm going to tell y'all something about Lil Yummy. It break my heart, man. Because look, man, this man ain't even 10. And doing shit serial killers do. You see what I'm talking about? It fucked me up, man. I'm like, damn, man. And then how the way they did them, y'all, I was like, man, that's cold-blooded. Check out the story.
A small child, so he makes a little team. No one fuck with them. Underneath the terror that Yummy brought to the streets, he was very loving towards his close friends, as he would often spend the night at their houses so he could have somewhere to comfortably stay. Yummy's neighbors couldn't stand him. He became a menace to society and didn't care about anyone who had something to say. There was no fear in his heart. He was coming to get his by any means necessary. He found himself caught up with the Black Disciples, which turned out to be a fatal move. Black Disciples...
BD. Think about the gang T.Y. and them in. It ain't no strange to the BD that they use kids to do hits. Look at all them BD that was in that room with Kanika that night. They were underage boys too. Right? Don't forget about them underage boys that ran in there behind Man and them. They BDs, right? So it ain't nothing new that they use kids under the age to pull their stunts for them.
Rifles often use children as drug runners or hitmen because they weren't old enough to receive serious punishment for their crimes. Yummy got caught up with law enforcement over and over but kept getting released. He felt untouchable. In the last year of his life, Yummy was receiving a felony a month. In the total, he had 23 felonies and misdemeanors under his belt before the age of 12. Yummy used to scare his lawyers and prosecutors in the courtroom. His nonchalant behavior and poise shook the shit out of them. He knew exactly what he was doing. He'd be in the courtroom chilling as if he was in the classroom board, not phased at all. In 1994, the homicide rate went up to a 931 record number still. In 2016, 731 people were murdered. Not much has changed. Yummy began making things hot. He got his first gun and carried it around like a toy, flashing it to the neighborhood kids whenever he felt like it. People knew he was a BD, and because of that, they left him alone because of the fear of them. On August 28th, 1994, Yummy was ordered by a BD to take out a hit. He walks into a crowd full of people with his 9mm and shoots at everyone in his way. He kills his neighbor, Siobhan Dean. Right after he does that, he dips off. Yummy is on the run now for the last 3 days of his life. BD moved around safe houses and abandoned houses while a national manhunt for the kid was happening. No one could believe that an 11-year-old did that. Now he began to get scared. He figured that the gang protection wasn't shit, so he went back to his neighborhood and stood on the front porch. The neighbor comes outside and he asks if she can call his grandmother so he can turn himself in and to pray for him. The neighbor goes inside the house to make the call. As soon as she comes back outside, he's gone. Yummy ran into 2 fellow BD members, honor students, Derek Hardaway and his brother Craig. They promised to get him out of town. He gets in the car with them and they drive off. They drive to a railroad underpass and tell Yummy to get out the car. He does. They tell him to get on his knees. He does. And then they proceed to blow his brains out. 2 shots, left his body in the mud. His body was found the next morning in the same spot, and that's when he became a national icon for the inner city struggle with this copy of Time magazine. Days later, Yummy had a funeral. The bullets tore through his face, so he had to get stitched up, but it was still an open casket for people to see.
That's sad, y'all. Now, that just to show you, think about the Kanika Jigga case. You got BDs there with old men and young boys, young juvenile boys with young girls, right? The hotel is connected to corrupted police officer, and the police officer is connected to mob. And the mob is connected to who? The FBI and the CIA and all this shit, man. You see what I'm saying? This how some of the gang people look at it in Chicago. If Kanika family had beef with other people, you know what I'm saying? If they can't get to the person they gonna get your kids. They gonna catch just like that dude when they shot that man's daughter up at McDonald's. They couldn't get him, so they shot him where the daughter was. Remember that? They don't give a fuck about kids. Man, we losing our youth to this dumb shit. If you look at if I show y'all the population, how many people died in Chicago alone, just look at it every other 50 state that ain't reporting the shit like Chicago. Not only by the gun, but look how many people died. Shit, goddamn it, from diseases. Cancer, only the black community, right? Look at the high rate that our rate is declining, y'all. You see what I'm saying? It's population control. It was set up like this. The mob like, we don't need the hood no more. You know what I'm talking about? We get a hood to the nigga. Build the projects up for them. Yeah, build these buildings up for them, put them out, because we already know, separate the game, because when they do shooting, come on, y'all, this been going on, and it's still going to look. You click on Chicago right now, it done got even worse. It's sad. Willie Lloyd, former gang leader of the Vice Lord. This Willie Lloyd. Willie. He look like Mad Dog. Don't he look like Mad Dog on The Good Times? You see what I'm saying? Then look how Hollywood was involved in all this shit to give us a show to watch this shit. So they've been doing documentaries and been in the hood and documenting shit. And you see what I'm talking about? The mob controls Hollywood. That's why we got racist ass TV shows like Good Times, Stanford and Son, and shit like that. You know what I'm talking about? He died at the age of 64. He was a UVL, an unknown vice lord, alongside the 16th Street in Lawndale neighborhood. Now think about the symbols, right? The gangs in, right? Think about their symbols, right? Just look at their symbols. I'm finna show y'all some symbols right quick. Watch this, y'all. What? Playboy. American Men Lifestyle and Entertainment Magazine, formerly in print and current. Now look, it was founded in Chicago, 1953 by who? Herb Helfer and his associate, and funded in part by $1,000 loan. Y'all see this shit? Mm-mm. So look, I got to go to the real. I got to go to the real symbols. They ain't gonna show y'all all these symbols on her. Let me go to the real symbol. I We already know some of the symbols, like this one. Everybody know what the 5-point star dropping the pitchforks, right? They put a 5 in they star, and then we already know when we think about masonry. We know what the symbols mean in masonry. Well, some of us do. Nah, that ain't Vice Lord right there. Here go the bunny, right? Look at this. They got the olive glass. You got the olive glass with a Playboy, right? Watch this shit, y'all. Got the king, the bunny, the man with the glasses with the bird hat. I guess that's a disguise or something, you know what I'm saying? But I do know one thing, that 21 bricks in the pyramid, you know what I'm saying? So when you go and look at all these signs, 2212 stand for Vice Lord. V, the letter V is the 22 letter in the alphabet. 12, the letter L is the 12 of the alphabet. You see what I'm talking about? Like GD, 7-4. G is 7. The letter G is the number 7. D is the 4 alphabet. You know what I'm talking about? So you got 7-4. GD 4. 2, 15, 19. 2, 15, 19, folks. See, I know a lot about that gangster shit. You know what I'm talking about? Cause I got a lot of, I'm surrounded by all this shit. So with that being said, y'all, check this out. With that being said, they got down. Chicago is really it. Chicago is the most corrupt state. It leads you back to New York and to Las Vegas. Cash a ticket in Las Vegas. I mean, in New York. Everybody else ran to Las Vegas. You know what I'm talking about? So when I think about that Kanika Jigga case, look at all the people. Look at all the people, you know what I'm talking about, that had their hands in this shit. The mob worked with the gang. There's way in the beginning. They've been working with the gang even before we was born. They gave us drugs and made us drug dealers. See, the average black nigga, he prey on that shit. He prays that shit. Yeah, I'm a drug boy. You know what I'm talking about? Like these rappers now. They'll tell anybody they sell dope. The mob don't do that. They don't want no clap. They just want the money. You see what I'm talking about? They just want the money, Jack. Why would they say they drug dealers and all this old shit? You know what I'm saying? And so the police can keep fucking with them. That's why we keep getting RICO charges and conspiracy charges and drug charges and shit. Because they rapping about it in their song, really telling you everything. They look, if you be honest, the rappers ain't nothing but snitches. Because they telling you what kind of body, how many bodies they got, who did it. You know what I'm talking about? 6 popping, 5 dropping. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I know about all that shit. Yeah, I ain't got to look this shit up on Google and shit. Yeah, I can just go down the street, goddamn it, holler at you know what I'm talking about? Hey, bro, let's show these folks the real gang and shit. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm familiar with this shit. The folk nation, look at they symbols. GD folk, 7-4 to the world, blow. 7-4 to the world, bro, folk. 1919 mean the cold assassin. You know what I'm talking about? 1919, folk, TP that, folk. So look, I got to go to their signs and symbols and shit. Now, I ain't gonna do all that because I don't think some of the brothers, you know what I'm saying, would like that type of shit. But I ain't gonna give you too much of it. You know what I'm talking about? Hell yeah. So that's all I'm just saying, gang. We already connected. But look, I ain't even got into organ harvesting yet. Cause think about how many people that came up missing in the year 50, 60, and 70s. When the motherfucker wasn't even thinking about no organ harvesting and all this shit. People just coming up missing. And then some of them people that was up missing, body was never found. So they control the drugs, they control the neighborhood. Shit, you might well say the whole land that on the south side and the west side, shit. It don't belong to O Block. O Block, I don't even know why them niggas talking about, yeah, O Block, this is our block. No, that ain't. Pull up who name on that motherfucker and chase back to who helped him do this shit. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Man, organ harvesting was going on then. I got some real disturbing news. Cause y'all remember, round about this same time, we heard about Wayne Gracie, right? And then go to Atlanta, Wayne Williams, right? Think about all that shit. Think about all them serial killers that done struck. And back then, they were admitted to eating bodies. Jeffrey Dahmer. Where Jeffrey Dahmer was from? Ain't he up from there? You see what I'm saying, y'all? These people were eating people back then. So now they got to connect with the funeral home because they like, damn, since there's so many gang members died, that really benefit us and when it comes to the body harvest. Go kill Snoop Snoop. You know what I'm talking about? And we'll pick them up. That's organ harvesting hidden in the gangs. So Kanika, so that means Kanika brought all of this shit out. And keep this in mind. That's why when everybody was asking for the FBI help in the Kanika Jigga case and Donna Stevens denied it, right? He said they didn't need their help. Now you understand why he didn't need their help. Because they was already up on the investigation. That means the feds investigate and gonna help him at the same time. Yeah, we know you got charges and shit, you know what I'm saying, corruption going on, but we gonna help you out with the Kanika Jigga case. No, it don't work like that. Hi, y'all. Appreciate the cash out too, gang. You know what I'm talking about. Shout out to Hopkins. Appreciate that Kimberly. Why? Appreciate that, y'all. You know what I'm talking about. So look, when I watching Good Times, they already look. When I watching Good Times and stuff, remember they already knew what was going on in Chicago. Look. When I first heard of Chicago about the Quanah Green, they were came from Good Time. And I'm like, shit, I ain't finna walk over there in them motherfuckers where because they said they had snipers on the roof. Look, they had snipers on the roof when police used to come in Quanah Green, they were knocking off the police. And then look at the Murrah Ultimate. Look at Ed Burks. Look what he was doing at that time. Uh-oh. Look what Ed Burks was going through at that time. Now you will understand why he wanted to take a black child from his mother and train him up to be a goddamn rapist and a killer. Know what I'm talking about? Look at the Black Murrah, Washington, Harold Washington. I believe somebody killed him because his death sound fun as fuck to me. They got stories saying that he was on some pills in the office and he probably accidentally took it, you know what I'm talking about? Shit like that, right? But these people in control of the news media, they get to pick and choose what to put out in the press. So back then, when my grandmama and them was reading the paper, police killed black man with a gun. And now, man, we like, damn, fool. Why would you even do that? Coming to find out, it's just the police harassing black kids in the hood. One of them would take off. He shoots them, then plant the gun on them. Now the news bagging them up. I bet they dig up all them bodies, them police shooters that was in the 70s, in the 80s. Pull out their autopsy report. I bet you're gonna show murder. I bet you they all was shot in the back of the head. Cause back then they weren't releasing no autopsy reports like this shit. Information wasn't even no such thing with public information. Cause public information that we had was the news. So when you read the news, we like, damn, man, he shouldn't have been shooting at the police there. So that made these people sound like they just really for the police. And look at Dwayne Williams. Come to find out, he worked for the CIA. The police was on the stakeout. And they said, they see his car, right? Look at the story. How in the hell Wayne pulled up with the body in the car, throw it over the bridge, and the police said he heard the splash. And they was in the woods, right, hiding. But all the evidence point back to a police officer. You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't even be surprised that Wayne Williams really did the shit with the help of the police. Cause look who they targeted. None but boys. None but the boys. Keep the girls still alive, but the boys is the one that you want to get rid of. Cause they're just like you, if you knock off all the young boys, that's really population control. Then man, it's just so much shit that goes on in the world that needs to be talked about and need to be discussed. Cause we need to open our minds up now, y'all. Man, when I see people begging the police for help, it just breaks my heart. Cause you really asking the devil for help. Look how many murders that's unsolved in Chicago alone. They let you know they don't give a fuck about what happened in these murders, long as they cut the check. They get paid millions of dollars. Keep this shit, look. Man, it just done got so deep. But think about this. This went Barack Obama. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Go back to some news article about Obama in Chicago and shit before he was president. It would show you he ain't right. I mean, when people look, just think about this. If we know the law, like for a prime example, like how the way they did Kanika body, we knew it was strange about the body. We were like, wait a minute, how long this body in the freezer? That body don't even look frozen. If we had the proper education about homicide, laws, you know what I'm talking about, murders and shit like that, the first thing we would have said when they released them photos, it's time for an investigation. A thorough investigation. Starting with who? Room 926. Start from room 9. Look how room 926. Start from that room all the way to the ultimate. You mean to tell me we done trail 926 all the way to Edward Burks, the alderman, to his son? And check this out, y'all. Notice how my live runs smooth. Y'all see no glitches, no buffering, none of that, right? Because I ain't exposing the Kanika Jenkins case. Mm-hmm. When I talk about something else, my shit runs smooth. But when I get to spilling them tea, spilling the beans and shit, they'll cut me right off in the middle of my goddamn conversation. Some rude motherfuckers. Them some low down motherfuckers there, Jack. Yeah, until I mention Ed Burks, when I break all these Donna Stevens and shit down, cause remember when Donna Stevens, cause look what happened in there to Rosemont Police Station. It fell apart. The court system done fell apart. Chicago police done fell apart. The police kill more than the gang members do. They got so many cameras and high technology. They got speakers on the street to hear gunshots. You heard me what I just said? These people got speakers on the street to listen for gunshots. What else that speaker listening to? Man, it's y'all just don't know how technology just got advanced. We don't even know half of it. Did you know that what's his name, y'all? The Muslim leader, Farrakhan. He exposed Chicago police because they had a contract, right? That every young male is in the database as a gang member. So when the police pull you over or come in your neighborhood and be like, hey, what's your name? Let me see your identification. Y'all think they running a background check, which they is, but they enter you in the gang database without you even knowing this shit. They got access to everybody's background. They know what you up to, even though they ain't around. They know who your friends is. Keep this in mind. These people got so much information. They know our address, who stay in our neighborhood. I know when I go to court, check this out, y'all. The judge so crooked, he already know who you is based off your zip code. Just like you go to court, right? Just say you in trouble, you go to court. They'll set all the black folks out that's in their gang area, in their special zip code, right? But them people in their zip code, they finna handle their case. You see what I'm saying? Man, Jay Spitter, look, it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit. They go by your zip code. When they pull up your documents and shit, you know what I'm talking about? If you from a black neighborhood, you got a black zip code. If you from the suburb, you got a zip code suburb. So when he go to your name, date of birth, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, Dana the police. Look, even Tupac said they the biggest police. The police is the biggest gang. I mean, yeah, the police is the biggest gang. Why you think their uniform is blue? Why do you think they wear blue uniform? Look at a police officer. He got a blue uniform in case if he struggle with a victim and get blood on him, it's hard to see the blood. Look at the tools they got. Before they enter your house, they put gloves on. That's for burglary. They got a flashlight for them to see. They got latex gloves. They got handcuffs, guns, a vest. You got everything you need to break in somebody's house or run in that motherfucker. You see what I'm saying, y'all? Look, and then make it so bad while all that going on, look at the big dogs, the religious people that's controlling the weather. Look, China just launched their own sun. America got their own park operation. Check this out, y'all. I'm finna expose this shit. Y'all know when y'all see airplanes, when they go in the sky, everybody, when you see that trail, that white smoke, everybody say that's a chemical trail, right? Everybody say that's a chemical trail, right? And that's a chemical that's gonna get us sick. That ain't no chemical trail. Guess what they did? Artificial clouds. Because once you see that trail, right, Just stay there, watch that same trail for about an hour or two. Man, you finna have clouds everywhere. It's an artificial cloud. And then when that happens, that's when the weather really finna be fucked up. Just look at the next time you see a plane in the sky and you see that trail, cause keep this in mind, the trail is gonna be going all over the sky. You're gonna be like, damn, look how that just look. Them ain't number artificially cloud for another storm. So look, when they create tornadoes, damage the property up, guess what they get? A check. When they create the hurricane and destroy cities, what's the first thing they finna get? A check. Know what I'm talking about? Man, this world ain't what we think it is, gang. Sometimes I wish I could have the power and just get everybody out their phone for at least 1 week. Go without a phone at least for 1 week. And just step outside on your porch and pay attention to the sky. Especially at night. Pay attention to the sky at night. You'll see all type of strange things going on. I done seen the airplane didn't even make no noise. Look, y'all, I seen the airplane. That mother look like it ain't no jet flight or nothing. It was like a plane that tote armor trucks and shit like that, big equipment. And this jump was flowing at a low altitude. Cause I was like, damn, that plane big as fuck. You know what I'm talking about? Cause I ain't see it. Cause when I seen it, I would feed my dog, and I just happened to look up, and I see it coming. I'm like, damn, why that jump? You know what I'm saying, flying that low? And then I'm like, damn, I don't even hear it, John. And soon when it passed me, cause it took like about 5 minutes to pass me, and once it passed me, that's what you heard. It was like a loud ass motor sound, like I can't explain the noise, but it was so fucking loud it vibrated the ground and everything. I'm like, damn, how can I could hear it coming, but I could hear it leaving? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all, I sit up there and I had watched the plane doing that chemical trail, and cause look, this what really made me pay attention to it. I looked up, I'm like, damn, look at all them zigzags in the sky and shit, man. They trying to poison us again. Then I kept coming back outside and I started seeing it spread. The longer it sit, it spreads out. Then when that junk get to spread out, that motherfucker formed like a cloud. I was like, oh man, that next thing you know, the next day it's raining and shit. The news having a hard time to keep up with this new weather shit. You know what I'm talking about? I remember you didn't need to watch the news for the weather report. You can step out your side early in the morning and tell what the day gonna be like. You know what I'm talking about? This one thing our grandmama and granddaddy did, kept up with the goddamn weather, because we were growing vegetables then. We were growing our own shit. You know what I'm saying? We had chickens in the yard and shit we had to cut up. I miss Little Bucket. You know what I'm talking about? I had a favorite chicken named Bucket. You know what I'm talking about? And I had him for a pet. The rest of them other chickens, I ain't give a fuck. But Bucket was my number one, you know what I'm saying, nigga, right? And man, careful Bucket, man. I ain't want nobody to fuck with Bucket because he was a unique ass chicken. Until we ain't had no goddamn food in the house. Yeah, Grandpa coming in there, John Bucky. Come here, Bucky. I'm like, shit, Bucky done ran away. You know what I'm talking about? Cause when I seen they came in there with that new bottle of hot sauce, I said, oh no. They got Bucky fucked up. Cause they ate all the rest of the other chicken. You know what I'm saying? So I hid Bucky at everybody around the house looking for him. Then the granddad around there interrogated me, where's he at? I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about? Then trying to bribe me with bubble gum and shit. Like this interrogation room. You see what I'm saying? Now Boogie on the run. I'm the number one suspect because I was last seen with him and shit. They all looking in the room. They finding fellas and shit. Evidence that Bucket been her. Shit, he pulled out that goddamn scrap, man. Gave me one of them slave whoopings. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, gave me one of them whip whooping, goddamn it. Man, next thing you know, Bucket had pop out of nowhere. Next thing you know, we had smothered chicken that night. Man, the motherfucker for years after this. I was so mad, man. You hear me, man? But yeah, gang. I just want to share that little knowledge with y'all for the day. You know what I'm talking about? I might be back later on tonight to open up the platform so anybody can join and say what they got to say. You dig what I'm talking about? Yeah, Operation Heart. You know what I'm talking about, Lady Love. Yeah. Yeah. They can identify you through the social security. Look, your social security is your property number. You see what I'm saying? When you born, that's why you give it social security. Africans don't have no social security and all this old shit. Social security just came out. When social security came out? See, back then, driving license didn't even have pictures on it. But yeah, gang, I'll be back. Man, Trey Gang love y'all, man. Appreciate the love and the support. Appreciate everybody thumbing the video up. You know what I'm talking about? And appreciate the cash app too, gang. Trey Gang love y'all. I'll be back and I'll be back.